Blessings, friends, and I want to welcome you to this edition of Spotlight on Music. Listen, tonight is going to be an awesome night. We've got some distinguished gentlemen that we're going to be interviewing tonight in the person of Gregory G. Pearson Sr., and also his brother, Curtis Pearson, the dynamic duo. Listen, we're going to talk and have some great conversation. This is what I want you to do. I want you to, if you're joining us, like and share, get in the comment section, send thumbs up, hearts, start your own watch party, join us for this dialogue tonight as we share with the brothers Pearson on Spotlight on Ministry. And at this time, no further ado, I want to welcome these brothers to the Spotlight on Music platform, sponsored by the Fellowship of Music and Arts. The one and only Gregory G. Pearson and the maestro himself, Brother Curtis Pearson. Bless you guys. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Bless you, man. Bless you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So happy for the invitation to be here on this program.
Yeah, man. I'm so glad to have both of you at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
At the same time.
That doesn't happen too often.
Oh, well, listen, man, I'm not going to prolong the time. I know everybody want to hear your story. Those that know you, they see you. You know, I always say people see people, but they really don't know from whence they've come. And they see you now and how God has blessed you, and especially what God is doing in this season, you know, with your studio, your record company. And Curtis, you doing so much, playing for everybody all over, everywhere, all of the time, and sharing your musical gifts. And so now who's the oldest? Greg, you the oldest, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. I know Curtis looks older than me, but
we're gonna start with you. We're gonna let Greg start us off, man. Just give us a synopsis of your beginnings, your musical journey, and how you ended up where you are now with your company, the Inner Court Music Group, and all that you're doing in music.
Well, I'll give you the short version for the sake of time. You know, I have to say that our dad, he was a musician, and we had a piano in the house, and my older brother bought an organ once I started playing, and I now had to be about might have been about 10 or 11 years old, and I started practicing on my church family at Gregory Emmanuel Church of God in Christ, and you know, I started playing with them probably around 11 or 12, and I got my first job playing at a church for $40 a Sunday at Mount Moriah Baptist Church when it was on Blaine and Linwood. And I went on, I was one of the national musicians for the Church of God in Christ for about 25 years. Lord has blessed me to play for many noted people and on very different platforms throughout the country. And right now we have the Inner Court Music Group, which is my recording studio and music production company, as well as the MAG, which is a new business venture this year, which is into video production with a media and event center right next to the studio. And I'm currently minister of music at Greater New Mount Moriah Baptist Church on Owen Street here in Detroit.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Curtis, come on in, man, and give us your story. I know it's gonna take you about 2 hours, but can you cut it down?
I'll give you the short version.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, well, you know, I got started. It wasn't nobody but God because I started very young, and I remember it like it was yesterday. And my brother was sitting there practicing on the organ. I'm just sitting there as a kid playing my little toys, and he got off the organ. He was done practicing, and he left the room. And I went ahead, something said, get on the organ. And I got on, didn't know what I was doing. I touched the key. He came running in, get off the organ. So, and I went in the room where my father was, and I sat down, and he said, you want to play the organ? I'm like, yeah, So he tried to get my brother to show me something. He's not patient. He showed me C to C, and that was it. And he tried to teach me at the cross in the key of F, which I still remember. So, but long story short, I always looked up to him, for his playing, because he had such a strong foundation with his music, and I always looked up to him, my big brother. So, I mean, I was the type of guy, I always watched him. I remember seeing him even pick up a bass at Gregory Manual before. I'm going way back and everything. So I always been an observer, and I ain't gotta say much, but I'm observed always and stuff. So that's why right now I fool around even trying to play the bass and stuff. So but yeah, but I'm now, like I said, I'm second there, been there for 31 years now this year, and I'm the MD there. And I did a lot of cut back on a lot of playing, for a lot of people, and been concentrating more like on the organ repair portion of what I do and everything. And God is laying something in my spirit to kind of, do a single. So I'm just kind of working on it a little bit and trying to get some things together to let the folks know that I'm not out of the race. I'm still in the race. So.
You definitely, I don't know about the race, what you're talking about, but you definitely in line, Doc. It ain't, listen, it's not too many musicians that got the stability of a Greg Pearson and a Curtis Pearson. They don't have that testimony. And I'm just gonna tell you, I just telling your brother before we came on the air, man, I get calls, and sometimes I don't know if y'all see the post, this church, that church, looking for a musician. But these guys, man, the stability's not there. And we're gonna talk about that, and the knowledge not there, the experience is not there for them to land these particular positions at churches who are in position to really pay them what they want or what they say they worth. But when the interview time comes, they don't meet the quote, they don't meet the standard, and then they get upset and call us old school, cause we keep trying to tell them, listen, you got to learn music. You got to learn it all. You never stop learning music.
Right.
No.
Music changes. I mean,
yes.
So the hymns, the anthems, the spirituals, the contemporary, the inspirational, what they call praise and worship. And they get mad with me when I say, well, that's all I've ever done was praise and worship.
Right.
So I don't know. But listen, Greg, man, you were at Greater Grace for a while too.
Yeah, I was at Greater Grace for about 23 years. I was the music administrator and organist there under Bishop David Ellis, as well as Bishop Charles Ellis.
Right. I remember, man, because you all over all those tapes, Doc, when they come on TV, Channel 62, back in the day.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And Curtis, man, on all of those radio broadcasts and with Second Air, man, and all of their musical credits and working with Bishop Van now. He was Reverend, but Bishop Van, you know, in second
sir.
ed, playing for Michael Fletcher and just everybody, man. How does it feel? Not that you're looking for it, but when people call your name and they call your name with such greats among our city uh, who have made names for themselves musically. And I tell people all the time, while y'all trying to talk about history, there's some folk y'all done left out, you know.
Mm.
How you gonna talk about in 2021 the musical history of Detroit, Michigan, and leave out the brothers Pearson? I mean, something not right with this picture. And there's so
Right.
many others. There's so many others. And that's why one of the reasons I wanted to do this kind of program, because all of us, I mean, we started somewhere, didn't nobody know our names. And still, as many folk that know our names, there's twice as many people still don't know our names. But Detroit has distinguished itself with the Detroit sound. And I don't care who you are. When you say you from Detroit, there's a standard of music
Oh,
that
yeah.
people look for
Right.
from us.
Right.
So Greg, talk about that, because now you got the record company and your production group, and you have recorded quite a few of the Detroit local artists.
Right.
So talk about that for number, how all that came to be.
Well, actually, Intercourt was started by Kurt. My brother Curtis, back in 97, was that about 97, Kurt?
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, he called me up and asked me to come and be a part of it, and we took off from there, and we produced our first project, which was Darius Twyman and Destiny. And you know, and we started the record. We started as a record label, and you know, when the music industry changed, and all this iTunes and digital downloads and everything became the standard, it was just not profitable to be a record label anymore. As a matter of fact, there was a lot of the major labels that just went along, fell along the way. So we just started doing music production and started the recording studio. And we've been at it, like I said, since 1997. So that's about 24 years that we've been doing music production. And you're right, Detroit musicians do set a standard. I've been used to travel all over the country playing with the Church of God in Christ. And once they found out I was from Detroit, it's just like, you know, it was a whole different ball game then. And it's because Detroit just has that unique sound. You yourself, Bishop Woods and Charles Nix, man, Daryl Houston, and that's just naming you three. You guys, you know, had that distinct sound that was just kind of molded. Ronnie Kersey, which was my mentor. It was just you all just kind of just established that sound in Detroit.
Kurt, how do you see yourself? I mean, starting back then and working with your, now you've been at Second Ave, you say 31 years?
Yes, sir.
My God, 30. And see, the fact that you're on here saying that, I pray that some of these young musicians are listening, you know, because I've been around you guys and I watch the magnetism you have. When you get on the organ, I'm watching all these young guys peeping over your shoulder and sitting around with their ears opening and trying to get a peep at the keyboard. You know, they hear what you're doing, but ain't nothing like seeing it. So you can go back home and try to duplicate it yourself. I mean, with that kind of impact on music, what would you say to these young guys now about getting to a place and establishing yourself and growing with a ministry? Because Second Ave has grown and you have grown, but some of these pastors get mad at me because I tell them, I said, well, you know, musicians matter too. You know, take the music out. Just let us stay home one Sunday.
Yes, sir.
and,
Yes, sir. You're
and,
right about
and,
that.
and see how that go for you, you know. And so, man, talk about that because you have been a stabilizer in that music department, and these young guys need to hear, you know, how you manage to just stay so focused, to be so solid and stable in one place.
Well, my thing is, I tell people going in when I play for churches, when I'm with you until you get rid of me. You know, I mean, because right now, um, I play for 3 other churches as well, and I've been there probably 15 years. I play for Seventh-day Adventist too, and I've been there for about, I'm gonna say 13 or 15 years, and I think I've been with Hatcher, Bishop Jeff Hatcher, for 11 years. So, you know, a lot of the young musicians, they bounce around and I speak with them about it. And the thing is, it's the lifestyle sometimes. And I get it, because when you're young like that, you want to kind of be where everything is happening at and everything. So if you at a church that's trying to grow, they got potential, oh, they looking at it as, hey, it's not enough fire up in there for me, you know. I would just get here. Can I come for at least a half an hour and play for your service and grab, you know, at least $300-400 and then leave and go play somewhere else and everything? They're not stable. They're not looking at it like that no longer. So I try to, you know, encourage them and talk to the young musicians about that.
That's great, man, because I'm telling you, I just this week earlier, I got some calls from a couple of churches. I mean, as far as our Westland and Arbor area, looking for some guys out of Detroit. They want, you know, because the musicians are scarce out there who are knowledgeable.
Very,
You got a lot of
yeah,
pianists, but not a lot of good church organists.
Right.
And
right.
and that's what they're looking for. Uh, you know, for somebody to come in and help carry the service when it comes to being a church organist. And let's talk about this because I grew up in a Pentecostal situation where I was fortunate that my grandfather always had a pianist as well. But then I noticed in a lot of some of the churches, a lot of them, they just had just the organist. And some of the guys' problem with that is they can't adjust when they find themselves in a music department and there are other musicians because they've been the sole musician. They've had to carry the service. It's been maybe a drummer and the organ, and that's it. No piano. So they don't know how to accompany and work with a musician where the music is gelling together, where they're really putting a good sound together. Uh, uh, talk to our young guys about that because some of them they're good now. Because I'm listening to them and learning some of these new chords they whipping out. You know, my ears ain't
Yeah.
closed, but I'm hearing them also when they are inexperienced, when they have to sit with a skilled pianist and they're on the organ and they just get lost. They don't know how to, you know, work with somebody.
Yeah, and it's sad, you know, because I see a lot of musicians when that in that situation, You know, they might be on the organ and somebody playing the piano and they don't know how to accompany everything. I automatically go into company mode if I'm not the lead instrument.
Yeah.
You know, that's just how I am. If I'm not the lead, I ain't got to prove myself. I'ma just fall in line, everything. So, and these are the things I also try to share with the younger ones. And I understand sometimes when the younger ones even pretty good and they think they real good and stuff, and they want to prove themselves. So they want to get on and sometimes think they can leave you. You know, you try to keep up with me and stuff and all that. And, you know, and that's with some of them, you know. But you know, you know, you got the ones that respect those that they know that got a jump on them that know a lot of music. So
Yeah.
you get your respect.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah,
Great. Great.
yeah. Basically, you know, it's just learning how it's a big difference. Like Kurt said, you have to switch over from being over into that band mode, pretty much to speak, where you know you got other musicians playing with you, so you're not the lead musician unless you're the MD, and so you have to learn how to fall back. I guess you use the term fall back and play and get in your niche or fall into that where you fit in with the rest of the band.
Yeah. Well, this is a question for both of you all. You know, here we are in 2021 and over the last 10, 20, even maybe further back years, the phenomena of praise teams and the music that they select as opposed to outright per se choir music, top 40 and what I love about Detroit has always been uh, the place where you're going to hear original music, original arrangements, and all of you, you know how to put your spin on a song, even if you're doing somebody else's music. You know, it's just something about how you can write your signature musically on a song. Because I never forget, we were somewhere and I heard Michael pulled out Tommy Whitfield's, and Curtis was on the organ. Tommy Whitfield's, what's that song? He recorded with Keith Pringle.
Perfect Peace.
Not Perfect Peace. Love you with all my heart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I done played that song 1,000 times. But where Curtis get them chords from? Don't even, I listen. I was like, where is he going? He leaving all of us. We were like, okay, we need to stop the service and have a music theory class on this song because this boy went up there and played this song. I mean, he never left the basic song, but it was, Professor Minor used to call it the 4-note method. You know where you're going. It was where he started and how he got to the next chord or the next bridge on this. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, you're talking about perfect creativity, spontaneity, and improvisation on the spot. I mean, just give us a quick theory lesson from the great master right here on this
great master.
Great master, yes.
Oh, y'all stop all that. Stop all that.
No, man, but I mean, it's the truth. I mean, I've done it myself. I know the feeling when people tell me that, but I'm just saying that particular day, man, you had us mesmerized.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this.
And let me stop here. He didn't pay me, y'all. He didn't pay me to say that either. But I will put my cash up for later.
I got all that stuff from y'all. When I started at second ed, I'm telling you, You remember those Baptist stuff they used to have, and BTU, all that stuff they used to have, and
Yeah,
when
Wolverine
they used to
State.
come to, yeah, all that. And when y'all guys used to come in and sit and play, because I didn't have that Baptist background, I would sit there and listen, and I would take in what y'all was doing, because y'all finessed it real well and everything. So I was taking notes and everything, because I was straight like on 10, because I came from Kojic. So they had their own way of doing stuff. So I had to pull from that and listen to y'all guys. I learned a whole lot sitting in those rehearsals. Trust me,
Yeah.
I learned a whole lot.
Well, you took it and perfected it, and that's what I try to tell these musicians, and that's how I learned. That's how I learned. I keep telling them, going to their rehearsals back when tape recorders was popular, cassettes. I kept mine in the car. I kept it with me.
Me
Kept
too.
batteries. Kept them up. Plenty
Yes, sir.
tapes. Man. Radio Shack. I should own a Radio Shack because I bought all the cassette tapes back in the
I'm
day. And
I'm
so,
telling you,
so
I used to listen to y'all. I used to listen, y'all execution,
Yeah,
all that. Oh my goodness. And y'all,
yeah,
hey, because I when I first started playing for Baptist Church, coming from Kojic, everything was fast. So when they slowed the song down, I'm like, okay, where do I move to? I'm just staying on this chord, move this. But when I heard y'all guys, when I got to second air and being at all that, those rehearsals and stuff, it opened my mind up.
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah, yeah,
love that flavor that y'all used to, put on it when y'all would come play.
yeah.
yeah.
And
Because
Greg, yeah,
yeah, because I remember growing up and listening to Alfred Bowden's uh, LP, and how he would just play the songs. I don't know if he came out with more than one or not, but I had the one, and I wish I could find that because I lost mine of his LP, and to listen to Charles Nix on the St. James broadcast, and who's the guy that used to play at New Bethel? Shelby, was it
Thomas Shelby.
Thomas Shelby? 10 o'clock,
Yeah,
10 o'clock on Sunday nights, and we'd be coming home from church. Kurt, remember that we used to listen
Oh
to,
yeah.
yeah, New Bethel's
Oh yeah.
broadcast, and they
Hmm.
would do
yeah,
the Lord's Prayer and everything. Man, that was foundational.
yeah, man. Thomas Shelby, and he would bring in everybody. He had Herbert Picard over there. Reverend Nix was there a lot of times, and Frank White. I mean, he would bring all of the best of the city to sit in with him at New Bethel's broadcast, and sometimes we go there just to hear him, man. I mean, and that's another thing we try to impart to the young guys, because I keep telling them, y'all calling us legends, y'all keep on having birthdays here. Y'all gonna you may not catch up with us, but you're gonna be where we are soon. They'll
Yes,
be
sir.
calling you old school and legends. Yeah, I'm telling you. But now that we're here, let's talk about this for a minute. The phenomenon of the praise team. What is your take on praise team versus choir? Not that they're in competition; they shouldn't be in competition. But I mean, everybody got their preference. And how do you see? Are we going back to the choir, or are we gonna do praise team and choir, or just praise team? Where we at?
Well, I know that, it's this praise team right now because of this pandemic. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think that the choir may be about a year out from now, maybe two. I'm not sure. But right now, I think praise team, because people are trying to change because of the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, they don't want to be doing the same old thing they used to do. And it's like this pandemic kind of opened their eyes. Because I was told by one pastor, it was like, wow, I'm in a pandemic. I'm gonna have a service for an hour. What was I doing before the pandemic? We was in
Right,
here
right,
2.5 hours, 3 hours. What was we doing?
right.
You know, now I have service for an hour, praise team sing, I preach, we still shout, have a good time, and we out in an hour. You know, I mean, I don't think the praise team can replace the choir because
No.
there's a difference in the music.
Yeah.
So, praise and worship music, it's different. I'm taking a different approach at it because of the song selection. Now I find myself getting more into the keyboards because of that, you know. So I'm opening up my mind to dig off into that so I can be more effective, you know, dealing with that.
Yeah, I don't think praise teams. I'm more of a choir person. That's just me. You know, I enjoy praise and worship, but to me, I just love a choir, and that's just my background. Right now at Greater New Mount Moriah, because like Kurt said, because of the pandemic, we've been dealing with just praise teams, you know, just so because you don't want a lot of people up there. And so we're in the phase right now where we're starting to look at building a choir, based around the praise team. But like Kurt just said, it's almost like it's about a year or so away before you really back into that full choir mode. But you know, it's not a competition between praise team and choir. Praise team has their place. I love it when a praise team opens up service with their songs, and then the choir comes right behind them with their style of music. And it just takes the takes the service to another level with each song that's presented.
Yeah, I think, well, from my experience, the choir, I know when I was at my grandfather's church where I grew up, the choir was a big part of the service. And even at St. James, Reverend would tell us, like my grandfather would tell me when I took over the choir there before I went to St. James. He said, I want y'all to sing everything y'all know. I said, what the? Saying everything, get the flow hot, get it hot, get the people ready. And Reverend would tell us that at St. James. He'd tell JD, you know, when we would meet, he said, listen, I want you to be prayerful, put out some good stuff and be prepared to sing 4 to 5 songs. People would get there early to watch us lying around the wall with the Lord is in his holy temple. And then, you know, back then we used to march in on Sunday morning. You know, we don't do that no more, but that was a big deal. And then after we got in and did the Lord is in his holy temple and all of that, and then we marched in, How I Got Over, or whatever we sung, we are on our way, and I'm so grateful. And then we got in and did the Lord's Prayer, then a morning hymn, you know, that the choir would lead, and then we would come with the first selection, you know. Only reason we might have cut down some is when we did the broadcast format, you know, because we only had an hour on the radio. And so, but our morning services, if we didn't take, man, we would do 4 or 5 songs. We was gonna do a hot song for offering, a hot song before Reverend preached, and 2 or 3 songs all the other time. And that's just what it was. And man, the people was loving it. I mean, on one hand, you got this new thing where folk are saying, okay, we get out in an hour. I'm cool with that. We can do this and that in an hour. But I don't know. I kind of think it's just me. When we really get that choir back, folk gonna be so glad to get back. They don't mind lingering for a couple of hours, going back to another hour or so, as long as the worship is on that level where there's something going on to hold their interest along with the preaching of the word. And that's just where we are. Let me holler that Elder David Tate is on. My boy Julius Dix out of Buffalo, New York is on. Sherry Carwell is on. Gail Otis is on. They all sending thumbs up and comments in the comment section. Denard McClary is on, and Beverly Johnson is on. Pastor Bishop Chuck Middleton Jr. He's on. Man, they chiming in. Marsha Pearson, who's that? Martha Pearson.
That's our
on.
sister.
Yeah, that's his sister.
Yeah.
Minister Eric Bell is on. Roosevelt Hampton is on. They're chiming in and making comments. But Alvin Ford Sr., bless you, man. Original drummer for the New Orleans Gospel Soul Children, made a comment about they will sing a lot of St. James music in their repertoire. Thank you all for chiming in and joining us on this time as we share. But listen, let me ask you this, now that we're getting back slowly, and what about the music? Because I'm going back to Detroit being a place of originality. Detroit has made her mark in gospel music history, period. You know, Detroit, Chicago, and maybe a couple of other places. But you hear a lot of talk about Detroit and Chicago, mainly when it comes to influence with gospel music, having so many artists in this locale. I mean, solo artists, groups, choirs, quartets. We got it all. Writers, noted songwriters, composers, musicians, producers, Detroit guy. We got it covered. How do you see the trend when it comes to the sound, especially with the choir coming back, hopefully? Because I'm just pro choir. When I write, I really basically got choir in mind, you know, even though the Lord blessed me with my group, but I still had, you know, a collective sound in mind. Where are we going? If you got any idea, how do you see music, the music trend changing?
Well, you know, for me, I think that we need to get back to choir music that's good for Sunday morning. I think with gospel music, we've gone too far to the left, so to speak, with our music, and it's not like it's almost like it's glorifying self rather than glorifying God, because you're not feeling the spirit in their music, the anointing that's in their music. You're just feeling like musicians getting together and doing all as many riffs and licks as they can do, and it's just not bringing God any glory. So we need to get back to writing music and recording music that's glorifying God, that the body of Christ can be edified, and give them choirs something to sing on Sunday morning. And like you said, Bishop, you know, I'm just a choir person. My last single that I put out, Your Deliverance, that's a choir song. I got another song that I'm going to put out in the next few months. It's a choir song, because that's just my foundation, and that's how I feel. And I pray to God that we can get back to doing music like that, you know, as musicians.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one, because people are missing that element.
Yeah.
And prime example, last year, a friend of mine, he was in a studio out of town, and he had these sisters in. They were older, and they sung, "Lord, whatever you're doing in this season, Don't do it without.
Don't do it without me.
And they put it out on Facebook. I mean, it was just plain simple, just organ and four sisters singing. But you felt the sincereness of the song. Wasn't no band playing and just really pumping it up. It was just God playing the organ. They got 2 million hits off that. And it's because people want to hear that. People want songs that really minister to them. And when you think about the season we were in, and you think about it, Lord, whatever you're doing in this season, don't do it out. Do it without. You know, those some powerful words.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. Thank you, my brother, Brother Roger Jean, musician, great musician, minister of music, just chimed in. And of course, Alvin Ford said, ain't nothing would take the place of a choir, you know. And I know, oh God, William Chipper Smith, the one and only. Mr.
Hey, what's up,
Fingers.
Chipper?
Oh, Chip, thank you, man, for joining in and sharing with us. But you know, the originality that comes out of this city, I mean, the bar has been set very high for us all of the time. I mean, way back from the Voices of Tabernacle when Reverend Cleveland was here, and all the other artists that Detroit has birthed, Dr. Matty Moss Clark, you know, and that's one reason why we were really trying to go back and do that Detroit Remembers. Let me ask you guys, you're professionals, and you've done most of all that music from then now. What would you say about music coming back? Because I'm hearing across the country some of the younger artists grabbing these old songs and redoing them. You know, songs that they may not have probably was wrote before they were born, but they got a hold to them and putting a new spin on them and releasing some of the older material that's just church stuff. I mean, just good old knock out, drag out, stomp church. And a lot of these guys are pulling that music in. You know, what would y'all say about that?
Well, you know, I've been listening to a lot of that stuff that's been coming out, and it really it sounds good, and you know, it gets me to move. And I think that's awesome because that's the stuff people want to hear. And you can be able to use that material also in your service.
Right.
You know, everybody like a nice toe tapping, feel good song in service to get the ball rolling, get the spirit to moving. You know,
Yeah.
we come to church to have church.
Yes, sir.
We don't want to come play with it now. We don't want to fool with it. So,
yeah, absolutely. I think it's great because there's a lot of, I mean, if you go back into the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, you know, you got Andre Crouch, the Hawkins,
Yes.
Milton Bronson, Father Hayes. It's just a plethora. St. James, Donald Vale. Just a plethora of good music that I think our younger musicians haven't been introduced to, and this generation. And I think it's a good idea to go back. The single that I did do, it was a song that was first released back in '95 with Gerald Thompson in the Nashville choir. They did that song, and it's just been a song that's always been a blessing to the churches that I've played for. I've taught it to those choirs, and I said, man, I want to record this song. You know, I said, this song is 25 years old, but I believe that it still can be a blessing. And you know, God has taken that song that I've redone and he's opened it up, and it's being played all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's happening. I was listening to Ricky Smiley not long ago. He pulled out an old traditional gospel song by First Church of Deliverance out of Chicago, and then he went back and grabbed a song. Or he's a Southern boy musician himself. He went back and grabbed St. James. Lord, I know you've been so good.
Wow.
You watched over me all night long. I mean,
Mhm.
just a plain old good church number. And he was playing it on this broadcast. I mean, gospel, it's on commercials and movies, plays. Gospel music is everywhere now. And people want to hear good, solid music. And so when you got songs out here, like I'm trying to tell these writers, I pray that you're writing and God will give you inspiration that your song have longevity, because there are some songs, just like when they talk about the hymns, they don't want to do them, but they're not going, these hymns are not going nowhere,
They're going nowhere.
so y'all might as well learn them. And I didn't want to say nothing, but I'm going to say something. Jimmy Abington and L. Stanley Davis out of Chicago, and some of these professors of music, they were talking about the 7-11 songs. I don't know if y'all heard that, about some of these songs got 7 words and they sang it 11 times, no real message. And some of these songs, they're taking Jesus out. They
Yeah.
taking
Oh, yeah.
God out. They taking Lord
Yeah.
out, to make them inspirational. But you being in the record business and having your music group, thank God that you're not one of those labels that would tell the artists, well, we got to put you in for crossover, because some of the artists have been pressured, to record what their producers say, when it comes to contemporary or inspirational gospel. When I look at Billboard now, man, I'm like, oh my God, they got so many categories of gospel now, until, we got inspirational gospel, soul gospel, rock gospel, traditional gospel, contemporary gospel. I'm like, oh Jesus. And then the Grammys and all of them don't give us our just due to recognize the art form, even in every one of those areas. So as an industry man and with a music group, the studio and all that, what would you say to writers in 2021 to suggest how they should approach writing new material for gospel music?
Well, one thing I would say is, if you're writing gospel music, you got to remember that gospel is the good news. And the main purpose of it is to glorify God and bring people into the realization that God is a great God, that you need Him in your life. There's people out there that's hurting, going through this pandemic. They need something that can lift up their spirits. They don't need something that's just going to be a headbanger, or just sound good. And the musicians can't hardly, your normal musicians or your church musicians can't even play the songs because there's so many different riffs in it. Somebody was telling me the other day, Kurt, that over at Second Ave, that somebody brought a song to you guys and it had so many different riffs in it that you all didn't want to do it.
Yes. Lord
And
Jesus.
yeah, and the thing is that it's just a me thing. So what I would tell producers and songwriters and gospel artists, don't forget who you're singing about. Don't do it to glorify yourself, but it's supposed to be done to glorify God. So why write a song and then you're not glorifying God in any kind of way? You're not being a lifter up of the body of Christ. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yes, sir. I agree with you on it. I agree with you on it,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. I think the pressure's on us. You know, I've taken it as a mission personally. I stopped fussing at the guys, like Roosevelt, and Chris Jones, and all them guys that would hang around us. And a lot of the other musicians, John Willis and Octavius and Chris Spark, all those guys. When I hear this next generation of guys, I just try to tell them, just stay rooted, so we can recognize the song first.
Right.
When you start the introduction, at least we'll know where we're going, instead of folk looking at each other, asking each other, what is that? Because they want to take the intro and shine, and I'm like, well, the whole idea is for us to know what we're getting ready to sing.
Right.
We know what the director called out, but it don't
Right.
sound nothing like what he said we getting ready to do. And musicians got to learn all of this, the technique and the discipline of music and working in a church atmosphere. So now here we are, 2021, and Curtis, tell us what's on your agenda going forward. You're at Second Ave and getting ready to do a single. What else you got on the back burner that's getting ready to come forth for us to know about?
Well, that's it. Far as I had cut back on a lot of playing, and so I said it's time for me to, express myself in music. I'm thinking about, like I said, I'm gonna express myself, and I'm trying to see which way I want to go with it. And somebody asked me just the other day, please do something with a hymn on the organ, please. So I'm up in the air about what my approach is going to be to what I'm about to do, but it's something that's been inside of me, and I said next month I'm gonna get started with it and really come out with that. It's been long overdue, because a lot of times I keep a lot of stuff within and everything, but I said it's time for me to go ahead and spread my wings and just really start expressing myself. Because I've been a laid back musician, and I write a lot of stuff, but I just don't give it out and do nothing with it. So I said it's my time to do it, really get started with it. So that's what's on my horizon.
Well, man, we looking forward to it, man. We need some new songs. We need, well, I ain't gonna tell it all, but we'll be doing something, so we'll be calling you for some music. But
Well, the thing is
uh,
I just been hard on myself. I'm my worstest critic. That's it. That's all.
yeah. Well, that's
I'm
that's
just my
that's
own.
good. That's good. That's a good
Yeah,
thing. That's a good thing. So now y'all done had a meeting. You, me,
yeah.
and y'all done had a meeting.
We
So
had a good
it's
meeting.
time.
Yeah, we had a good long meeting.
I had a good long meeting. Well, but listen, man, I'm glad that y'all came to an agreement to be a blessing to us, because
Yes,
we
sir.
waiting for some original good gospel music around here. And all my friends that I talk to across the country, they keep asking me the same thing. When y'all gonna do something? The workshop just did a project a couple of years ago. It's been a couple of years now, where they did a mass thing, and but they want to hear some more. Where's this? Where's this one? Where's that one? And they still asking for the old stuff, along with some of the new writers, to just go ahead on and release some new mass choir stuff. I was on with Evangelist Sandy Rose with the Gospel Music Workshop, myself, Jeffrey LaValle, and Charlene Moore out of the LA area. And I mean, they praised Detroit. I mean, So because of course the workshop started here in the city of Detroit, under the late Reverend James Cleveland, Charles Nix, Harold Smith, Dr. Matty Clark was a part of those first conventions. Donald Vale, Dorgan Needham. I mean, it's so many. We go back, call names: Reverend Norman Jean Pender, Reverend Retha Glover, all of the musicians, the Craigs. I mean, everybody was there. Lucille Lemon, Community Youth Ensemble, all of these guys that the Lord has basically blessed, and we stand on their shoulders. So now we're in a position where we need to pass the baton and pass the mantle to this next generation. But my hesitation is enough of them are not ready. I don't know. What I'm saying. I just got butterflies, and I think God still got us here to kind of help guide the process, release some more music, write some more music, and kind of merge them in and then pass it on, because none of us gonna be here forever, but thank God, I pray that whatever contribution that I've made, it will live on after I'm gone. Same way with what's happening with Donald Vale's music, the Craig brothers music, St. James music, Lucia, Dr. Matty Moscow, all of those, but we still singing those songs. And that's what blesses me. Thomas Whitfield, still singing those songs, even today. People calling. I had to call Armin Palladium, Greg, you'll appreciate this. I said, listen, man, people are calling me trying to get a hold of some of that vintage gospel that was back in the day, that were released by all of these greats, and that music is still alive. So 2021 going forward, we're looking forward to the choir again and getting back. But let me ask you this last hard question, because a lot of pastors have come to me and I said, I'm gonna start the Nicodemus ministry because they call me by night, don't want nobody to know they calling me. And they got these problems in their music department. Should there be, in your professional experience or opinion, if you're paying a musician and the choir is obligated to wear uniforms, should there be a dress code for the music department, the musicians or the band?
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
And my reason being, these guys today, if you give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile with it. So if you let them come just wearing a polo shirt, next Sunday they're gonna come wearing a t-shirt. So they're gonna keep pushing the envelope. I play for a church maybe once a month. I ain't gonna call it out, but one of the musicians, he come look like he just got off the basketball court to play, and wear a do-rag in the service.
Oh, God.
So, like I say, if we don't start setting a standard now, it's just they're gonna keep pushing the envelope even more. I was in a service and I was thrown by this one. It was a concert, but the band members all had hats on in
Yeah.
God's house. I'm like, huh? I don't care if it was a concert, but this is God's house. But you can't go to court and do that.
Right, right.
But you're gonna bring this foolishness to God's house.
That's all it is foolishness.
Foolishness.
I was watching Judge Judy. I know you're right. And she told this one guy, didn't you know you was coming to court? The way you dress, I don't want to see your arms. You got on a t-shirt and he had on shorts. She said, I don't see your arms, your knees, your legs, or nothing. Go out of here and find something and come back, because I don't even want to look at you. And like you said, I've seen that too, man. And I question, I had to tell this pastor, I ain't gonna call their name. You and your board sign their checks. So now, if you can't, set the standard on just something as minute as, they're gonna be there a couple of hours. They can't wear, I ain't saying you got to wear a tie all the time, but at least a decent shirt, a pair of slacks, and be presentable for worship.
Right.
Choir, they are members, they pay tithes and give offering. They're glorified volunteers. Then they got to turn around and buy uniforms, so there'll be some kind of uniformity, and here you come, you getting paid top dollar and can't even, abide by a simple dress code. You know what I tell them now? Burger King got a dress code, Wendy's got a dress code,
That's
Kentucky
right.
Fried Chicken. All these places got a dress code, but we come to church, man, and it's a free fall, whatever goes. But I blame the leaders. They allowed it, and if there's ministers of music uh, that don't have they got the title, but they don't have no power. If they try to institute something that's going to make the church look good and working with a pastor. So I just wanted to get that. I'm glad y'all said that, because sometimes I cringe. And same thing with these groups and choirs. Some of these community choirs, I had to tell them, good buddy, man, y'all sound good, but I can't hear y'all. I can't hear you for looking at you.
Mhm.
Because you got some people, all different sizes, all different shapes, and I ain't talking about nobody's size shape, but if you healthy, you know what you should not wear. You're
Right.
gonna be up gyrating and doing your routine or whatever. Every choir now they got to add a little bit of dramatization and a little physical activity, the director to the choir. And if they're not properly dressed, it's stuff
Well,
ain't right.
Hard to receive the message.
right. But you know what it is they're into self.
Yeah,
When,
it's
when,
distracting.
yeah, they're into self. They're not
I don't care
into.
how good the sound is, but you standing in front of us and we got to look at you while we hear you. That stuff is I ain't gonna keep y'all longer, but I guess I had to get some of the ladies on. I see Gail Otis is out there, and Sherry Conwell, Betty Jackson, got some folk on, and your sister's still on. All these different hair colors and these piercings and these tattoos.
Oh
What's
Lord.
up with that? I mean,
Self. They're into self.
these young ladies got their arms out and they hold their tattoo from their wrist up to their shoulder blade
Yeah.
on their legs.
Yeah.
And some of them got these piercings along with, my God, wearing red hair, orange hair, green hair. Every time we see them, it's another color. What's up with that? Is it that the world is influencing the church when the church should be influencing the world? What's going on with this generation?
And you hit it right, the nail right on the head, man. It's the world is influencing the church. We're not the salt anymore. The salt has lost its savor.
Yeah,
We're trying to appeal to the wrong type of element. We're not trying to let people know that there's a difference in us as Christians. When we're too busy trying to be like the world, we're not setting an example.
yeah,
You are in the world, but you are not of the world.
yeah.
That's what my Bible says. I don't know about
Yes, sir.
yours. That's what mine says.
It's
And
in there.
and the thing is that we get into self with these choirs and these directors. It's a performance. It's not ministry.
Yeah. I made a statement. And I got a lot of flack on it, but they can't take me off Facebook. But I said, to our young ladies and to the guys, there was a time when the fellas were modeling their socks, when the colorful socks came out and the bow ties, that was a fad. Bow ties, the socks, taking off your jacket and highlighting your bow tie and your colorful socks. Now they ain't wearing no socks.
Oh, God.
They showing their ankles and wearing skinny leg suits and short suits and tight suits. I'm like, what is that all about? And then our ladies, I said, and a lot of them got mad at me online. I said, some of y'all, are y'all becoming Vogue models and porcelain dolls with the makeup and the eyelashes? I'm online on Facebook, and if I'm watching you, you bat your eyes, I feel the breeze through the technology. Because your eyelashes so long. What is that all about? All of that's worldly stuff. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with dressing up and looking good and being fine. I like a wonderful, well-dressed woman. But the Bible said do all this stuff in modesty. Y'all have started painting your faces. You got the piercing in your nose, piercing in the eyebrow, piercing in your ears. And then when folk look at you, you say they staring. Well, come on now. A lot of this stuff is just a little bit too much. And you're mutilating your body over what and for what, to follow a fad that will come and go, just like fashions. We got our winter clothes, we got our summer clothes, we got our spring clothes, we got fall wear. And right now, while summer is here, they're gonna start advertising the fall collection. And then there y'all go. Y'all, whatever they got, they sell on the rack. Y'all just go back. And I keep telling the guys and these women, everything that come out in fashion is not for you. And especially not for church. So the church have lost it being the sacred place where God's presence abide, because we just do whatever and treat it any kind of way. Well, we done talked about that. They're gonna talk about us, talk about me. I know, but hey, I mean, I told them maybe y'all had a chance to get it right while we was in this pandemic. Everything was shut down. I mean, I ain't never seen the church shut down in all the years of my life. Everything else might have shut down, but not the church. Right. This time, the church was shut down. Now we opening up slowly. I'm just praying that they don't go back bringing all that stuff back in church, that they will kind of tone it down a little bit and stop trying to be, Miss whoever, whatever, in your choirs and all this kind of stuff, wearing everything and anything for church. Well, I got that out. I take a breath.
You feel better?
I feel better. I feel better.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
I don't think they can take it. They're gonna call us, we're just old, traditional, old school. But I was listening to some broadcasts earlier, and one of the things a couple of the pastors were talking about in the Old Testament, where God told the prophets, don't remove the foundation. You build on the foundation. Church is always, first of all, it's not our church. And we can't just come along and change the Bible and insert and take things out of context, just like we say, come as you are. Y'all done took that a little bit too far, because right. I believe, it's just words. I believe when the Lord said, come as you are, he meant your lifestyle. Come as a thief, come as a robber, whatever your state of life or your position is in life, you come in the work of the Holy Spirit, the word will transform your life and change you. That's what any man be in Christ, he's supposed to be a new creature.
A new creature.
When these folk are exhibiting Christ, the world saying, well, shoot, I ain't got to go to church because, it's just like going to the club just on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Because all my club friends at church, they dressing like they're going to the club, and some folk done changed the church into a club with the spotlights. And one preacher said, you can't see a cross or find a cross nowhere in church no more. I said, oh. So anyway, that's the whole stuff. So I mean, I had to get the pastors on to talk about
right.
that.
You
And where we
preaching,
going.
Elder. You
Yeah.
Yes,
preaching.
sir.
But
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you guys sharing this time, your wisdom and imparting. And if you had to give any on-site advice to these young musicians when it comes to their musicianship and where they're trying to go, because both of you guys have already accomplished being where you are, and they're trying to get where you are. So what would be your parting words of advice to any one of these musicians that are looking forward to moving forth in music ministry?
Well, my thing is know your calling and walk in that calling. If God has called you to the ministry of music, learn your craft, uh, know what you're all about, and also don't forget who you're serving. But one thing that's the most important thing is learning what you're doing. Don't come in half baked and giving God just crumbs. Give God your all. That's what I have to say.
Thank you.
Well, I would say this. Number one, keep Christ first.
Yes.
Pray. Have a relationship with God. And also, when you go to minister in church, be in tune with the spirit, be in tune with the service. Just don't play, just be playing and let me get my money and go. I hear a lot from a lot of pastors, and I know I know y'all hear the same thing. I got a guy playing for me, but they not in tune.
Yep.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
need to be in tune. There's a flow to a service.
Yeah.
The spirit is moving. So you be in tune. Don't be in tune to your cell phone. That's like develop a prayer life.
Mm. I got an offering for you.
But let me give you my cash app while we on it. No.
Put it up, Doc.
Yes. That's my story, and I'm sticking to that.
All right, come on now.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. And they jumping in on that too. They jumping up in the comment section about that. Well, man, we've been on here and we try to keep it at a minimum, hopefully. But sometimes we have to do part one, part two. We have to come back. But Greg, I was watching and I found it and put it up on the YouTube channel for Fellowship of Music and Arts when we did the forum, the symposium at Mount Zion, when we had the pastors and the musicians, and I was telling some guys they need to go back and hear those comments that was made way back then, and that was like 2015, whenever it was.
Yeah, it was around 16, 17.
Yeah. To go back and hear those comments, we had Bishop Van on, Bishop Charles Ellis, and Pastor Nathaniel Johnson, and David Yarber, and God, what's the pastor? He relocated from Bethel East.
Michael.
Michael, yeah, Michael Owens.
Owens, yeah.
Yeah, Pastor Owens.
Yeah.
And then we had, on the musician side, we had Brooksy Fentress, we had Bill Moss, we had Joe Smith, and Pam English, and it was somebody else that was supposed to be on there. Our buddy, our little Rod was supposed to be there, but he didn't make it. Roger Edwards. And so we had that full panel on that side, and Pastor Nicholas Hood and Dorgan Needham were the moderators.
Right.
And we talked about all of this stuff that we're talking about now. And so those of you that might be listening, you might want to go and just hear that form, and you hear both sides from the pastors and the musician side. We tried to, to be open and be equal so that we can hear what it's like with pastors working with musicians, musicians working with pastors, and how that should flow. And so I want to thank you guys for just sharing this time and sacrificing this time to be on this platform. And we'll have to do it again. We'll have to do another panel discussion soon about music ministry. And we're going to get together. I've been talking to George Troyer because we were reminiscing on the life of Alfonso McKenzie, who was the only Black board member for the Detroit Federation of Musicians. And he had, he came and did our workshop, remember,
Right.
had a great new Mariah and
Al
other times.
McKenzie. Yeah.
And his whole heart was to introduce the union to the musicians. And I know, and I'll say this and we'll be done. If a lot of our musicians that didn't have their ducks in a row had been a part of the union, they could have taken advantage during the pandemic of all of the programs they had to get them some kind of funds for their rent, their insurance, and to kind of help them. And a lot of these grants were they didn't have to pay them back. They weren't loans. They were just grants, but you had to qualify, you had to be a member. And so, listen, I'm telling these guys, listen, for the amount of money that it is annually to be a member, you need to get yourself covered. Now they're offering a brand new insurance program, life insurance and other kind of insurance at a discount. So to all our musicians out there, if you're not covered, if you're a career musician and you're looking for some aid and some help, just check it out. Don't take my word for it. Just check it out for yourself and see if it's something you might be interested in. The federal government only give you, when one passed, $255 just for being a member of the union and just paying your regular dues annually. You qualify for $1,250 that will go to the beneficiary that you name as a part of your family policy as a member of the Federation of Musicians. Just something to think about. And every now and then I might post, when I get my monthly publication, I lift something out of there and post it on some of the news that they're sharing annually and monthly. All right. Again, thank you guys. Thank all of you for chiming in the comment section and joining us. If you missed any part of this, it'll be on the Fellowship of Music and Arts page. Go to our YouTube page and get all of our other content. Like it, share it, and subscribe. Join the Fellowship of Music and Arts. It don't cost you nothing. All you got to do is go on our page and just say you want to be a member, and we'll include you as a member on the Fellowship of Music and Arts page, and look for some other events we're going to be working on and trying to bring to you virtually. And as we get back, we're going to be doing some things where we can all come together. We're looking forward to it. Thank you, Brother Greg. Thank you, Brother Curtis. Appreciate you, sir. All. And until next time, next Friday, now we're going to have two other distinguished gentlemen, Brother Greg Eberhardt and Brother Denard McClary.
Oh, man, greatness.
Together on Spotlight on Music next Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we bless you tonight. Thank God for you. Until then, yes, Bishop Andre Woods commanding the blessings of the Lord to overtake you.
Thank you, Bishop. Appreciate
Thank you,
your
sir.
time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.